Yo, what's up, guys? All right, take one. We're gonna look at a quadratic function today and how we're gonna solve for its zeros. So remember back in class that we learned something about factored form, and we said that sometimes the quadratic that they give you can be factored as a product of binomials like this, right? And then when you solve for zero by using the zero product property, you're going to get that in both cases x is equal to 4. Basically, another way of saying that is that the root 4 repeats twice, or has a multiplicity of 2. Okay. Now, we also looked at the quadratic formula, and we said we could solve this using that, and that was kind of like a canon compared to like factoring these other things, right? So here, let's try it. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, and negative b, it's 8 plus or minus negative 8 squared, which is 64, minus 4 times 1 times 16, right? All over 2 times 1. Okay, and then you notice that, as you simplify this is just going to be 8 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2, and that will branch off into two separate two roots, right? But because the discriminant is 0, that low key that you're just going to get 8 over 2 twice. In other words, x equals 4 again. Okay. Now let me show you another way. So this was once again, this was using factored form. This is using quadratic form. And now there's this other thing called completing the square. And actually, this completing the square method came. This completing the square method actually helped derive the quadratic formula, right? But the way that it works is, or at least how it's normally taught in most schools, is step one, you want to make this leading coefficient 1, right? In this particular example, the leading coefficient's already 1, so I don't have to worry about that, right? And then step 2, what you want to do is move the constants to the other side of the equation, okay? So we're going to do that by, subtracting 16 on both sides. And then you're going to get x squared minus 8x is equal to negative 16, okay? And now here's where the completing the square trick, the main trick comes into play. The trick is that you're going to add a special number on both sides, okay? And what this special number is, it's going to be half of this b coefficient squared. So that means negative 8, half of that, that's negative 8 divided by 2, which is negative 4, and you square that, it's going to be 16. So this magical number, 16, you're going to add to both sides of this equation, right? And this trick, what that is going to do is it's going to rig this left side, right, where the quadratic's at. It's going to make it factorable, and it's going to make it into a perfect square, actually, okay? So you can play with this, but you're going to get that the left side can be re-expressed like this. And to verify on your free time, you can reverse the steps, do FOIL, and you're going to get back, right? X squared minus 8x plus 16, right? So that is equal to negative 16 plus 16, right? Which is equal to 0. And then from there, you take the square root of both sides. And that's going to undo the squaring, right? So that means it's x minus 4 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 0, which is 0. And then once again, you get x equals 4 repeated twice, plus 0 minus 0, right? So yeah, just 3 different ways of solving the same problem. I know this problem, this wasn't that interesting because this quadratic was kind of simple, but you could use this trick for other quadratics, okay? All right. Yeah. All right. See ya.